What's up, y'all? It's your boy Major 7th. We just finished episode 459 of the New Old Heads podcast. We talked about the Cash Money versus No Limit verses and the effects of that in the hip hop culture. We talked about Drake and his RIAA certified history that he made in terms of his albums and the success that he's had, and also how people should look at that from a hip hop standpoint. We also talked about Ninth Wonder's interview on The Breakfast Club with his upcoming artist, Ruben Vincent, where he talked about how younger generations are actually still clamoring for older type of hip hop. You just have to pay attention and listen to them when they want to talk about it. So a very good conversation with that as well. Don't forget to go to newoldheads.com. Don't forget to subscribe. And don't forget to check the Patreon out as well, because that is where you can get the unedited full episodes. All right? Peace.
You are now listening to the New Old Heads podcast. Our official 1-hour episode is released every Saturday at noon Eastern, but we share the exclusive uncut 2-hour episode to our Patreon members early every Wednesday. The show is brought to you by Coleman Dental, Indie CD and Vinyl, and Bringing Down the Band, and most importantly, you. Support the show directly by becoming a member at patreon.com/newoldheads, where we embrace the new, respect the old, and remain ahead.
You are tuned into the New Old Heads podcast. I am Major 7th. We got the family in the building, starting off with my man Jay Moore. How are you, good sir?
I'm doing well, just getting ready for Halloween, all the trick-or-treaters.
Dressing up.
Don't let me see you out there stealing candy.
I'm not me.
Okay.
Bag snatching.
100%.
It's for the kids.
We will violate you on the next episode.
Call them chill.
My man DJ Spoolz. How are you, buddy?
Hello, Michael.
Good to see you as always,
Good to see you too, man. How you been?
I'm good, fam. I can't complain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Everything's good this way.
Good, man. I'm glad to hear that.
My man Lone is in the pilot's chair. How are you, sir?
Howdy. Doing all right. Not too shabby.
No. Oh, the thumbs. Okay. I'll look for something at some point.
Doing all right. Yeah.
Good. My man DJ Jay Diff. What's happening, man?
Salutations.
How are you, sir?
I'm not too bad,
I
man.
like when you have a good disposition.
Yeah, you've made that aware.
I want to make sure I drive it home.
You like it? Do you like it when what'd you say last week? Do you like it when I care about
Yeah,
how you
something
feel?
like that. I'm like, I mean,
I like when you're positive, brother. It just helps the show.
yeah.
All right.
I think
When
we're
you're
positive or negative. I mean, because I might have a negative view on something, but it doesn't affect the show.
It's about the start, though. If you start negative, then that trickles down.
I think that's personal. So.
Some projection going on.
Okay. Gaslighting, perhaps.
I do have this nice comic book, though.
Man, can we hold? Can we?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Shout out to Mass Appeal. I mean, this isn't a sponsored post, but
it's not. But this is the real deal, though.
yeah,
That's awesome.
I kind
That
of
thing is sealed too, so don't get it twisted.
That joint.
You see that, dude?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's real right there, Spoolz.
It's got it in the Mylar.
That joint is sealed
Gotta
too.
keep it bagged up.
Yeah,
We support
really
the
dope.
culture by default. If one of us get it, we gonna all wear that.
we gonna share that mug.
It'd be like all of us.
It's like it's both ours. Yeah,
I
that's
get
what
it on.
that is.
I get it on Monday.
Yeah,
Jay gets it Tuesday.
There you go.
just don't bring it back with no fingerprints.
That part.
Mhm.
No fingerprints and peanut butter on the edges,
Yeah, man.
Do you guys remember Rocco's Modern Life?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you remember
kinda.
Do you remember the character was like, you turn the page and then you wash your hands. And then you turn the page and then you wash your hands.
Yeah.
Only my
And
brother.
then you turn the page and then you wash your hands.
Only my brother Lone.
Come on, man.
Only
And that
my
was a
brother
great
Lone.
time in Nickelodeon
This
history.
when Doug was on.
Man, you had Doug, you had Pete and Pete.
Talk to him.
Pete
Talk
and
to
Pete.
him.
You had.
I was too old to be watching this stuff, but I still checked it out.
I wasn't. I was.
Come
I
on,
was
Terry.
tuning in.
Go down the list, though. Go down.
What was the camp show?
Oh,
Salute
man.
your shorts.
Salute Your
That's a good
Shorts.
Come on.
You had Wild and Crazy Kids.
Come on.
Which also starred Good, and I don't want to get his name wrong because he might want
Omar.
to do
Omar.
a rap battle against me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Omar was in that.
Yeah.
You had Clarissa Explains It All.
Come
Couldn't say
on.
that was one of my favorite, but
Larissa explains it all.
Blossom
you
was on
had
Nickelodeon, right?
Are You Afraid?
No.
No.
Blossom was on
I need
National.
you guys to.
Yeah.
Blossom was on National TV. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm
I think
getting
it's
Topanga.
Boy Meets World.
Yeah.
That
That's
still
that's
wasn't
still on
Nickelodeon. That was on
National.
ABC.
Man, I'm
That was
old,
on like
bro.
TGIF or
Yeah.
I'm
something.
old.
Yeah.
Double Dare was on Nickelodeon,
Double.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
You guys remember
that.
with Olmec's Temple?
Oh yeah.
It was
What was
like a
that?
game show or like
The Hidden Temple. The
Legend of the Hidden Temple, something like that.
Something like
I
that.
remember the song. It was like
It had the big face that kind of looked like one of the Holiday
Come on.
Island dudes.
Come
yes,
on.
yes.
the Moai.
They would talk and be like, "Oh,
So the legend Ninth Wonder drops major truth bombs about today's youth and the consumer. Now, Ninth made an appearance on The Breakfast Club with Ruben Vincent, who actually was at Trees with him. Dope young artist. He made some key points about the balance in today's music landscape and how the younger generation relates to music. And I think he was spot on because we tend to overlook things as we are, the older generation. So I want you guys to watch this video of him talking about his approach as a professor and what he's seeing from the youth as it relates to today's music, the difference between what we like versus what they like.
First of all, artists shouldn't be afraid. A lot of artists are afraid to try. They rather do what they think will work instead of running a marathon. But I also believe we cannot get lost on the fact that there is a generation of kids, young adults, that want to hear what you're talking about. They want to hear it. It's out there. Like, I see them all the time. I see them in my class. So now you're dealing with the generation that's the offspring of Generation X. So now what are we playing in our cars, right? We're playing all of these classic records and they're picking it up when they're very young and taking it on. You know what I mean? So we can't assume there's a generation of kids that don't want to hear it. It may not be as big as this generation of kids that want to hear this over here, but it's there.
I think that's he's in a very unique position being a professor, someone that could get a chance to touch the youth and be able to talk to them on a daily basis and hear their opinions. So the question I would pose would be, would hip hop be in a better space if some of the OGs or the older participants in the culture took the Ninth approach? When I say opposed, that's fine. As opposed to the younger generation is trash. I don't like NBA Youngboy. I don't like this. I don't like that. Ninth didn't sound like that. He said they want to listen to this, but don't alienate the group of youngsters that want to listen to this. He has a balanced approach to it. I guess is what I'm saying. Okay. And I think that would be more beneficial to hip hop if more older people took that approach, is what I'm saying. What do you guys think about that?
As somebody who is in those spaces, I would say, yeah. And it's something that I've had to kind of learn throughout time a little bit, to be a little bit more open every single semester. I mean, I don't teach at the capacity that Ninth does, because I think he teaches a hip hop class, but I teach young music producers, at a collegiate level as well. Right. For sure. And they all come in and you'll always get new people to come in. Like the big thing this semester was Jersey Club was really big. And it's, and some of the stuff is, it challenges me on a regular basis because it's like, why do you like this music that sounds like it's distorted and it sounds like it's not mixed well at all? And it's called Jersey Club. And if you played this in a club, it would sound like shit. So help me understand why you like this, and so I think I have to regularly come at the youth, if you will, from a perspective and an approach of like, tell me why you like it. What's the application for it? And from there, it's just like, all right, cool. And then if it's for me, it is what it is. And I think you can translate that to your interactions with all people that like all different types of things. So,
I kind of see it as, I don't mind the youth and younger cats liking what they like. I mean, we've all been there. We've all enjoyed, the music that we liked at the time. It might have kind of changed with the time. My whole thing is, as long as people appreciate where it's came from and where it's going and have an appreciation for the people that pretty much held the torch before you or before your generation started making this music, it doesn't bother me at all. And I think what kind of happened was a lot of the OGs weren't taking the youth under their wing musically. And we kind of see that here when we talk about the Indiana Black Expo. Even that, it's like people don't want to get out of the way and they don't want to pretty much usher in a new energy. So they kind of just hold them to the side until they need it. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like as long as the youth want to and care about the sounds that pretty much got it to where it's at now, I'm good with that. You can like and enjoy whoever you want to listen to, as long as you know where this particular style of music and energy and and about how people produce things back in the day. As long as you have that appreciation for it, I'm good.
I think with that too, I'll have this caveat and then I'll get out the way, but I think also the onus is on the older generation
It absolutely
to
is.
teach that to the youth.
Mhm.
And so if the youth of whatever doesn't have that appreciation, that is a failure
Yes,
from not them.
exactly.
You know,
yeah,
so-
that's the reason why I kind of brought up it was the OG's fault, essentially, as far as not kind of taking them under their wing and showing them this is where we came from, this is what we did. Now,
This
you
is
know,
why we do it
this
this
is why
way.
we do it this way. You can do it how you like, just have an appreciation for where it came from.
I think Ruben Vincent is, I don't want to say a one-off because I know there are more kids out there like him. But if you watch this interview, he talks about how his mom used to, like Ninth mentioned that Ninth and his mom are the same age. And he talked about what albums that is All Eyes on Me, my dad used to play that. He talks about it, what his uncles used to play, what these people used to play. So that kind of molded him to go down a rabbit hole. He talks about going to YouTube and learning about Tribe and all the rest of this stuff. So I think sometimes he be one of those ones that's a little different because maybe he did the homework after being presented what was what. Everybody's not going to necessarily do that. So it might be more work for the OG if someone is not that receptive to, you know, what actually was going on. I thought that was dope that he talked about his history of what he heard that made him get to it. Now, Ninth still has to do his job to bridge the gap to Lone's point. You do what you got to do and make sure you understand what's what. But it probably was a little bit easier because Ruben had already started to do a tad bit of the homework. Is that fair to say? Do you guys see where I'm coming from?
I can dig that. But too, we have to too, from our point of views, we have to realize that when we started getting hip to and listening and being fans of hip hop, it was a subculture. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't something that was readily available. It hadn't been around forever. So like, I feel like at least with my personal experience with it, me listening to those sounds made me kind of want to know where it came from and led me down to other musical paths as well.
I would agree.
That's just my experience with hip hop, with it being a subgenre.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it led me to other things. And I feel like nowadays it's, well, I know it's the most popular art form musically.
Right.
So they don't have that same experience with hip hop that we had. And I feel like we kind of take that for granted a little bit by not showing them the ropes.
So what do you guys think that has happened? Because my 2 cents is I like Ninth's approach. I think it's great. As I've gotten older, man, like shitting on the youth isn't where it's at, dude. Like it's, you know, people like what they like. And when I was young, I liked shit that, you know, probably isn't considered great, you know, at the end of the day. And you know, some people I've come to find too that, I mean, didn't take that long to figure this out, but people listen to music for different reasons too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like some people just like to party, man, you know, and that's why they listen to the music, you know what I mean? So there's nothing wrong with that. That's not why I listen to, or the only reason I listen to music. I mean, we all have our own appreciations for it because we've chosen to find out, you know, through digging and learning more and more about hip hop and then finding out where it's from and then, you know, digging into those songs. Yeah, I think a lot of, you know, all of us in this room have an appreciation for other types of music as a result of learning more about hip hop, right? Like,
Yeah, for sure.
But no, man. I mean, you know, people can like whatever they want. But my question would be, why do you think that that's happened in hip hop? Why do you think there is this gap?
I think there's
where people weren't maybe put on game when they were younger. Why is that fewer and far between than we're saying we would like to see?
I think because it's always been said that hip hop is a young man's game, and what people gravitate to winds up getting old quickly. We can always see that. I don't care what era you go through. You know, a lot of times when we think about, especially when we were younger, our favorite artists, we looked at them as like they were adults and they were up all the way up here. You know, but when I'm, you know, a huge fan of Big Daddy Kane, when I'm 12, I didn't realize he was only 19.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I didn't, you know, by the time, you know, a group like the Fat Boys were already considered passé and their run was over, they had just turned 18, 19 years old, you know, and I think sometimes we're just so willing to move on to the next thing that, you know, we don't give anything a chance. It's so hard to try to say, oh man, you should check this out. I mean, like, oh, those guys who wore the gold chains and the high top sneakers, like that's not what we're doing right now.
Right.
You know, but I also think that like one of the things that Lone said is like, you got to find out why people like things. You know, nobody, when I was, you know, in high school, it's not like anybody was asking me like, well, why do you like Wu-Tang Clan? What is it with the kung fu noises? And you know what I'm saying? Nobody asked me.
I've never been asked that.
You know, it's like, why are you gravitating towards that? I mean, because I can understand even people who liked hip hop. You know, I think it was Ed Lover when he first heard, you know, Wu-Tang and Protect Your Neck. He's like, I don't know if I get this. And he said the same thing with DMX. He's like, all that barking and shit, like, I don't get it. You know, like, but you know, sometimes you can just be behind, and you shouldn't feel bad about that. Like, it's like when people turn on every year. I see these, you know, when I go down social media when it's the BET Awards. And people are like, I don't know these artists, and who is this? And it's like,
you're supposed to.
I'm 48 years old. you know, there was a time when that BET Awards first hit. You know, it's been what 20 something years, and I guarantee you, if I watch with my parents, they'd be like, well, I'm just gonna wait till they do the Lionel Richie tribute, and then I'm gonna turn this off. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think there's this thing to where everyone wants to be centered. And whatever they're into is the center of the universe. Yep. And you have to understand that once you get a certain age, that's just not true anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
it's really never true.
Well, no, it's never true. But like, you know,
you're at your most like, what's the term I want to use? I don't know. Like your head's pretty far up your ass when you're that age.
Yeah. True,
you know?
True. But you know, you know, my godson, like he loves 21 Pilots. And, you know, last week he went to go see Playboy Carti, you know, and
that's
you know,
cool to like that. What kind of,
you know,
wide
and
range
then he also likes this rapper out of New York named Lil Tecca. Like, you know, I'm not sure if I get to see him this holiday, you know, season or whatever, but you know, I like to every once in a while text him and find out what he's listening to, you know, not because of anything else. Of course, it's my godson. I want to stay tapped in with him, but also it's because I'm like, man, what's going on out there? Like, what is it I'm missing because I'm in my 48-year-old bubble?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think instead of just saying, that's trash, here, you need to listen to Things Fall Apart. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's,
you know, by the Roots. Now, mind you, he's been receptive. I remember I sent him, I said, hey, man, there's this guy named Jay Dilla. And, you know, he's a drummer and he wants to get into producing. I say, you should check him out.
That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but, you know,
you find the caveats that connect to what they already like. And then you kind of piece the history in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I don't know. I'll never be like, man, that's trash. Even like you know, because I just don't, it might be something I just don't get. It's not something that has shaped any part of
some of the stuff is trash.
Some of it is trash.
There's no wrong.
But you know, a lot of the stuff, there was stuff in 1993 that was trash.
Spoolz.
Yeah.
Sure. Ask that question again. You remember
what is it about hip hop, or what is it, you know, we always reference you know, there's gap.
Yeah.
Right? Like what's caused that gap?
To me, I think a big part of it is accessibility, because music is so accessible now. Like, you can literally listen to something and there'll be 35 albums that drop tomorrow or the next week or whatever. And as a result, when we were kids, we had to spend time with those records or do the homework, liner notes, all that type of stuff, because there was nothing else to look at.
You think like almost technology has played a role?
I think technology plays a huge role in terms of how close we get to music now, because you don't have to get attached to anything because there's so much stuff coming out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can like what you like, but there was an attachment to when I bought Wu-Tang Forever.
Right.
I was attached to the CD, 2 CDs, double CD. I was attached to it.
Do people listen to things for like 2 years anymore?
No, people don't listen for 2 weeks.
They're ready for the new thing to come out.
And it was like $25.
It depends. It depends. Yeah. Like the kids I know, like it depends if they really like it or not.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just like us.
Yeah, I don't. I'm genuinely asking these questions, and they're not. Yeah. I'm not trying to lead in any certain way. Like I
just think I don't know. I think accessibility goes into the equation. I'm not going to say that's the only reason.
It does.
But I think it goes into the equation.
Yeah, I think it's very important too. But the advantage that you have, Lone, is you're actually teaching kids that are interested in music as a whole.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So they're going to be more receptive to wanting to know what you listen to, what was your experiences and your influences, so to speak, versus a kid that just listens to music to be listening to music.
That's the other piece.
Yeah. So like the thing I was saying about the subgenre situation is hip hop was new.
Yeah.
At that point in time. So like it made us, or me again, want to know the history of some of these sounds that were being made and came up with versus nowadays, again, it's the most popular genre. So I feel like it doesn't lead them down that same path.
It's been done
because it's all they know is hip hop now. So like it doesn't really matter as far as a history to them. Now it's important,
right? But
without somebody OG or older kind of directing them in the right direction, then it's not going to matter as much.
I think I'll give Lone peace from this standpoint. Terry makes a good point about youngsters coming into the door wanting knowledge, right? So when they come take your class, obviously there was something made them sign up for your class, right? So
parents,
cool, but the parents saw something in the kids to make them get to you,
sure,
right? So when they get to you, even though they're interested in what you teach, Lone still has a responsibility to not cheat them. You see what I'm saying? Like you can just have a whole bunch of kids that are inspired about coming to do production or whatever and not give two shits about it. The responsibility is on him to make sure he pours into them. That's what I love about what he does.
If he wants to be a good educator.
Exactly.
For sure, which I'm sure he is. Yeah.
He cares.
I know he is because he taught us.
Exactly. He cares to his point, to my point that we're talking about the OGs or whatever that we mentioned earlier. He cares enough to make sure he pours into them. That is the difference. Because you get a lot of kids just take the class to go through this and they're done with it. He actually pours into them. And I think those are the situations that make it different.
Well, what is it? So Sarah and I were talking about this when I was at dinner, and this might, I think it relates a little bit. So we're talking about rock music in particular. And that gap that we're talking about that happens within hip hop doesn't seem to happen as much in rock, or the blues, or other genres of music, jazz, country. Now there's people that don't get along, and there's always been older people who might not like when grunge came out, there were some classic rock guys that didn't like grunge. But they couldn't deny that like these guys weren't amazing musicians. You know what I mean? They might not have liked it, and people have disliked one another, but like you'll also see young bands bringing out, like I was watching, this is kind of old, like Ed Sheeran was doing a show, and he brought the dude from Wheatus out, the dude that did the song Teenage Dirtbag. And there's a massive age gap there. Like Teenage Dirtbag, I think, is an early 2000s song. And Ed Sheeran, he's, but like, I'd like to see more of that in hip hop. I think that shit's really cool. I'd love to see like 21 Savage bring Andre 3 or Big Boy out one night. You know what I mean? Or something like that. And there's nothing wrong. Like I'm not putting hip hop down in any way, shape, or form. It's just, there's something about it where that gap seems to be more pronounced, or, it's just different for some reason. And I don't know why that is.
I think there's an interesting thing here that could turn this conversation into lead it down another path. The interesting thing about rock music, jazz music, the things that you're speaking on is we're talking about people that are holding tangible pieces of instruments that you have to be good at an instrument to do.
Sure.
When you talk about hip hop music and beat production, there's this level of classism involved, and also racism and historical white supremacy, realistically, involved in the construction of looking down upon an art form that was built out of essentially nothing. And that's caked into everything too. And so from one perspective, I feel like that is one angle that has to be fought against when we talk about like, depending on who's having this conversation. Like if it's somebody within hip hop having this conversation, I feel like it's different than somebody who's outside of hip hop having this, But the people within, I feel like that level of, it's not necessarily classism, it's kind of elitism in a way of like, well, I had to learn how to use, we're talking about Ninth Wonder here. Ninth Wonder was the one who broke the software and hardware gap.
Facts.
He was the one who
making beats on, what was it, Fruity Loops?
He was on FL, he was on Fruity Loops. And before that, the reason why it was so so crazy in my opinion, and I tell the story to students and everybody, is like, at that point in time, because I was outside, I was a producer at that time using software. you were looked down upon if you made beats on software.
I was there.
And then here comes Ninth Wonder making beats that sound like they're on an MPC or sound like they're on a SP 1200 or whatever. And then everybody gets this idea about Ninth Wonder's production. And then he's like, oh, no, I make beats on Free Loops.
Mm-hmm.
That changed the entire game. Like him specifically, like that changed it. And
that's true.
The elitism kind of changed up a little bit right there, you know? And so I don't know. I feel like there's a part of that has been passed down a little bit too. You know, the level of skill that you like, lyricism and the way that you say things is a lot more important in hip hop as opposed to rock music and a lot of other, well, there's none in jazz, right? Really. And, you know, blues a little bit, but like you don't have to be the most amazing singer. You can kind of just get out there and do your thing. Now, granted, there's levels to it. Some people can really sing.
I don't know. I would counter that.
Yeah,
I would.
I feel a certain type of way about why it is too to kind of stay on that path real quick.
Yeah.
So like in those genres that you speak of, a lot of those musicians, like especially when you talk about jazz, in order for you to get on, somebody had to invite you in, or you had to be a part of the kind of legacy,
the
like
community, essentially.
Yeah, the community. Like even when you talk about a Jimi Hendrix, he went through a lot of different groups and situations before he was Jimi Hendrix.
He used to play for, he was in Little Richard's band.
Yeah, he had to get his chops.
Yeah.
And then even when you talk about super producer, Quincy Jones.
Yeah.
Quincy Jones had to go through a lineage of different people to get to where he's at. And it was more of an appreciation.
Yeah.
I'm as long as I'm, you know what I'm saying, my name is brought up with these people, that gives me a certain type of level of respect. And then from there, I move up. In hip hop has always been considered a young man's game. Like he talked about how by the time Fat Boys were done, they were 18, 19 years old. LL Cool J came out the box at 16.
Yeah.
And we looked at them like they were older than that, but they were all young. So when we talk about hip hop, it's the youngest art form of music. And it was always considered to rap while you're young and then find something else to do. There was never a blueprint to be like, well, you can keep on rapping when you get older. Like we're witnessing that now. So that's one of the reasons I feel like nobody in hip hop was like ushering in or let me pull this person up, because it was always pretty much without being said, like, I'm gonna just do this for a little while and I'm gonna find something else to do.
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Like the reason what I was saying, Lone, to counter you, I think I look at like from a lyrics standpoint. I know that obviously hip hop and rap is very lyrics heavy, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think that that necessarily makes it the genre that has like the better lyrics overall necessarily.
Well, there's
some just like, and I'm not trying to put words in your, I don't know what you're like.
Well, I guess what I was saying was like, because there's a lack of instrumentation in hip hop, it's
more important.
It's more focused.
Sure. That makes sense.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
So it's easier to like spot something that is like, that's not as good as this over here. As opposed to rock music, you can get lost in, you know, I don't know how you guys listen to music, but I don't know why, but I don't listen to lyrics until maybe the third or fourth listen any time of anything that I listen to.
Yeah.
So if it just sounds good, I can vibe
that's
with
gonna
it.
pull me in.
You know what I mean? So, but anyways.
Yeah, no, there's just a lot of amazing songwriters in all those genres of music that we talked about before that are like, that I think of the same way I think of like a Kendrick Lamar, like the way that they write. I try to make fewer distinctions between, and I know we were just talking about the differences that I brought it up, but like music's still music, man. Yeah. And like, you know, there's just, you know, the songwriting element as far as what hip hop is concerned is not that different in my opinion than the songwriting that might happen in rock or in the blues, you know what I mean? Or different.
The only thing that I would say to differ to that is that there's just so much more words involved in hip hop, generally speaking, as opposed to like a regular folk song I'm going to write or a song like, it's like, it's
quantity wise, yeah, for sure.
It's like 7 times more words. So to make something that cohesive and that good, and then again, then there's different styles. And there's also hip hop that's a lot more minimal. That's just as good as well. But you know, anyways.
Where I get on my hip hop soapbox still at 42 is like, You can't tell me that's better than this.
Nah, I feel the same
Like,
way.
it
And
might be
then-
more popular, and you might have sold a lot more of
Yeah.
it. And I'll stand on that soapbox till the end of time.
I stand with you.
But
on
like,
that
I
one.
don't care. That guy's not better at this art form than that guy over there who might have sold fewer albums or whatever. Like that, I have a problem. And you know, I think that might happen in all genres. Like, oh, XYZ band is the best ever. They sold the most records. It's like, nah, dude. Like,
That's not an art metric.
Nah.
no, it's not at all.
art,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a business metric.
And
Yeah.
the thing is, like, I think that's part of sometimes the disconnect where when we even have discussions, even amongst people who like the same, or in the same age range, they'll be like, oh, well, so-and-so, you know, they sold all these records. And it's like, we're not even having the same conversation if that's what you're going to bring up as something that I should pay attention to as far as this person's artistic merit. Like, I don't care how many records this person sold.
And I'll say this too. I'll get in some more old man shit. It bothers me sometimes when the people like the academics of the world are the more popular ones because they don't have anything to talk about artistically.
Yeah.
It's all albums. It's mostly just album sales.
Yeah,
and
it's
this
numbers.
person's better than this person, or
Because of X
You know,
number.
yeah, or when hearing the Drake Kendrick shit and hearing like people who thought they knew. Like, I'll tell you this about hip hop. Maybe it's because I've just been closer to it than these other genres I've talked about. I just am a fan of the blues and of funk and soul and rock and shit like that. But like, there's a lot of people who have a lot to say about hip hop and rap and don't know what the they're talking about.
it's-
dude.
it's
We've
been
talked
like
about that.
You know,
It's
it's
been like
unreal.
that.
Like, and it's from a media, like what media I choose to consume when it comes to hip hop. I'm very choosy. Like, there's Jesus Christ, does everyone have an opinion about something that they don't even understand?
Yeah, I
you
feel
know?
like hip hop too
Or they
is a
even
lot
like.
more technical than people give it credit for.
Absolutely, it is
Because
yeah.
like even production, having an ear to produce something, and then having an artist that can make that beat come alive more so than just the beat itself is an art form. Like you brought up Kendrick Lamar, he's one of the best at it. Like more recent people that does it, and like hip hop music has evolved into so much more than was expected. And I think that a lot of these OG cats didn't expect to have kids in the art form.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They graduated from being kids, but they didn't know how to raise kids in art form. You know what I'm saying? Hypothetically speaking.
No,
so now it's kind of coming back. Okay, I probably should have did it this way. And I feel like Ninth Wonder is being kind of that anchor to be like, I'm going to change how this shit is.
Mm-hmm.
It's also not cool to be a teacher. It's not. It's not cool to be somebody who does that, especially if you're in the art form.
Mm-hmm.
Because they always say, if you can't do, teach. Right? It's like one of those things. Like it's never been looked at as like, oh, it's not cool. You know what I mean? So like, or and art is one of those interesting things too. Like it's this whole failure metric, if you will. You're not successful if you don't make money off of it or all this. You know, like if you look at the world through that lens, then it makes it even more challenging sometimes, because then all of a sudden you're competing with somebody else out here and you don't, you know, it's, Anyways.
Interesting though,
Yeah,
man.
music should never be gauged by how many units is sold. I've never that's never been a thing for me. If I liked some, I liked some. Like I liked the group back in the day called the Boogie Monsters.
Yeah.
Oh man,
nobody really rocked with the Boogie Monsters. I was cool with that because I rocked with them. You know what I'm saying? I liked them.
Thresholds of negative stress.
They was dope as shit, and I could care less if they sold 100,000 copies or 1,000,000 copies. I liked it for what it was, and it never was about just liking it because such and such likes it, or it sold this many copies, or they're getting 10 plays on Rap City versus getting a play every couple of days.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I think a lot of people need to change their approach and their mantra on how they view music and anything in society right now, because everything is based on metric.
Well, I mean, that's why it's every Sunday they post what is the #1 movie in the country. It might have been a terrible movie, but it'll be like, oh, it was #1. I mean, that's kind of what Hollywood's going through a thing right now, to where the things that are supposed to work are not working. People are not. They don't care. How many superheroes are in it? They're just like, nah, we want something else. We'd rather see Sinners. And so it's like, and it's hard, but it's hard to, all these things they're spending all this money on. It's got to a point where it's so bloated. And I think in a way that's where hip hop is right now, in a certain way, because it's like you spend so much money putting these albums out, and it's like, the rate of return isn't going to be what it used to be, just because nobody's buying anything, except Taylor Swift fans.
Yeah, they'll buy the same album twice, dude.
Just to get the bonus track.
It's wild, man.
I mean, I mean, when you look at the chart positions, it's really just Taylor Swift and everybody else. But that's another conversation. But
well, I noticed when the Drake Kendrick thing was happening, it was really intriguing. It was just interesting to watch, right? I was waiting for not really waiting for. I was curious to see if there were going to be any like migration of like people who were more into like Drake shit over to like the Kendrick side. You know what I mean? They're like, oh my God, yeah, wow, this is way more artistic. And I'm not even just trying to shit on Drake. Drake is good at what he does. I've always thought
very good.
I'm just not into what he does that much, you know, but he's good at that, you know what I mean?
He's good at being a product, man.
But Kendrick's like, he's just, you know, seems very genuine, and it's just, it's far more artistic to me. And I was kind of wondering, I was like, are people going to like, oh, wow. Like, and no,
they just got quiet.
They said,
just got quiet
after
and
Kendrick
then came back.
fucking destroyed him. Drake fans were like, well, Drake's still more popular.
Yep.
These are the things I'm reading and seeing. Like, these are, and I was just like, fuck,
I mean, because like, you know,
this was a waste of time.
He was still even after the battle, he was still the most streamed artist of that year.
And good for Ken. And I don't want to take that away from Drake. Like, good for him. You know what I mean? Like, that's cool and shit. It was just funny, like stepping into that arena again. Like, no, he's not better than him. Like, he's not close. You know, and what was, he sells more records. Oh, okay, all right. Well, conversation over.
Yeah,
you know,
like, you've made your point.
Yeah.
There was something you said earlier, and I'm not gonna cut this wound back open, but you made a very good point, and then we can go to the next topic about the difference between how certain genres are looked at. You talked about, if I'm not mistaken, you know, instruments are involved, and you know how things with jazz. We'll use jazz as an example. And then one thing that jumped out to me was his conversation about the instruments, but also the lineage of jazz holds, to me, way more weight than hip hop. Miles, Coltrane, all these, it's been around longer. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a level of presence that comes with jazz when you talk to it as you relate to how you compare it to other genres, because jazz has some guys that are iconic in music, period. And it goes back to the 50s, 40s, 50s, 30s. Like, it goes all the way back. Mm-hmm. Right? And I think that part kind of makes people look at it a little different, because you have to be able to play XYZ. People were writing music for jazz, and there's a lot that goes into that.
I feel like that's part of every genre right now, though. Like, because like when you talk about music as a whole, nobody's as into being an instrumentalist as they were back in the day. That's pretty much, you know, kids had bands after school. Let's meet up in my garage and let's play this shit. Like, everybody learned how to play instruments. Now, when you talk about jazz, this is another thing that makes hip hop so formidable and so important. Like when you talk about Tribe Called Quest, Q-Tip was formulating their hip hop around jazz, essentially. Like, nobody had done that before. Yeah, and it created a whole different like vibe and energy from what he was doing from his jazz influences. So like, I ain't taking nothing away from anybody musically. Like, because being able to play an instrument is technical. I mean, I feel like at least 3 of us have played instruments in this room. So I know what goes into learning how to play that instrument.
I can play the recorder.
There you go. I mean, everybody's played that at least.
Look out now.
But like, there is a different appreciation as far as music is concerned by knowing how to play an instrument. But in the same token, having an ear for the music, and even being DJs, knowing how to manipulate the music to make it sound this way, is essentially using the instrument. It's just not as technical as it was at one point.
I think Ninth spoke to what you just said. I just think it's sample size. I think there are plenty of kids out here that love to learn instruments, play them. I see them on my Instagram all the time. People just jamming. I'm like, yo, these kids are 19, 18, 17 years old, and they're playing 3 or 4 different instruments. It's there, but as you notice in the video, he talked about the sample size. One, like, it might, to Terry's point about everybody's not necessarily looking into being an instrumentalist per se, if we're going to look at today's times. That might be true on the mass scale, but there are plenty of these kids that are out here that are beyond talented, playing 4 or 5 different instruments.
Yeah, I mean, that's still part of the curriculum when you go through school. You have to learn. You either have to be in choir, you got to be in
used to
orchestra.
You used to. I don't know if they do that now.
It's different now.
I don't know.
I
I
don't
think
know.
some
I'm
schools
old, I don't
have
know.
stripped some of the music and arts and stuff. Some
He's right.
schools. I can't speak
All
to.
right, well.
He's
where
right when
and-
we were coming
and
up,
all that.
though. He's
Right.
right.
You have to choose one or the other. I mean, at a certain grade, you could be like, I'm not doing any of this, but
Yeah.
it was part of that's part of your education was learning the arts.
Mhm.
Sure,
Music
for
was
sure,
one
yeah.
of the arts.
Yeah.
So
True.
I'll give you a quick example though. It's kind of cool. My niece is picking up a bass guitar. She's
Good for
9
her.
years old. But she takes lessons and stuff, and so like she likes Nirvana. She's
Oh.
9, and that's what the mid '90s or early
Yeah.
early '90s.
yeah, we were 9 when we was rocking with Nirvana.
Yeah,
Good for her.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it's
but then
dope.
like it's then kind of funny to me when like to hear like a 12-year-old rap like I want to be like Playboy Cardi. Like do you?
Yeah, I mean,
Do you
Yeah.
think?
Long
you
as-
just gotta take it as they don't know any better.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you
No,
don't show them
there's
better,
nothing-
they ain't gonna know
That
better.
and that's a good point. She knows
Yeah.
Nirvana because of her folks.
Yeah,
There you
You know
go.
what I mean? Like
There you go.
that's why I like, like hearing, like when you were talking about, or I can't remember who was saying like, but their parents listen to
Yeah,
all
Ruben Vincent, yeah.
like
Mhm.
listen to All Eyes on Me, and that's what like that's there's a lot to be said. Terry, you commented on this like a month ago. We were talking about something, but like show them, man.
Show 'em.
You
yeah.
don't have to make them like it,
Nah.
but you
Show
know,
them.
and
On
also
the way.
what kids hear and absorb when they're young, like sticks with them. Like for me, it was Led Zeppelin and Leonard Skinner and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And I love that now.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
man.
doing my next Lone Love instrumental project is from that album right over there. It's Elton John's Yellow Brick Road.
I love that album, dude.
Mm.
And so I'm redoing it from scratch. But I got that record when I was like, it was my mom's record or
I
my
can't wait.
dad's record.
I didn't know
I
you were
can't
doing
wait
that.
to
I
hear
can't wait
that.
to hear that, dude.
It's gonna be fire.
I love Elton John.
Yeah.
I was at his Goodbye Yellow Brick Road
Yeah.
final
man.
tour in
Yeah.
Chicago. It was an amazing
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
No, I love that record. So
Yeah.
I'm redoing every single record on there. I'm about six done, but I've started all of them. So that's
Hell
my
yeah,
next
man.
one.
Lone,
Yeah.
Can't
Lone
wait
is
to hear that.
Lone is a master at this recreation thing. Like through his eyes,
It's a
through his
good
lens.
album.
It's just sampling.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what they go.
Yeah.
Just sampling. Yep.
Really
See,
good
I got to
album.
kind of lean on. I know you brought up some of your influences, but like as a kid, I was drawn to Stevie Wonder. I was drawn to Parliament Funkadelic.
Yep.
I was drawn to the Gap Band. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
These are people that formulated kind of my musical taste
Mhm.
at an early age. So like I feel like that also had to do with my upbringing and what my parents rocked
Sure.
with too. So like if as an adult, you have to be mindful of the influences that you're bringing
Absolutely.
into your home, and you also shouldn't always. You should respect the youth, but you shouldn't act like the youth because
Say it
like
louder, sir.
like straight up like
You
a
might need
lot
to
of
say that
people
again.
a lot of people like for some reason they want to identify with the youth by acting like the youth
Oh,
versus being
man.
in a position to be like, this is what we were on. I appreciate what you're doing,
Yeah.
but like kind of like you feel that like how he was talking about they gonna be on your ass about that Jersey Club shit too because they really rock with that.
Yeah, I know.
I need to check that.
But
I've
like-
never heard of.
It's what it
You
is.
have to-
You have to put yourself in a position to make them want to lean on you as an OG versus like I'm looking at this youngster and I'm trying to act like you.
That's
that
just
type
sad,
shit.
dude.
Yeah.
It's all in the applesauce, man. It's
is.
the presentation, because if you look like a damn fool trying to put these people on, you're going to be looked at as a damn fool
Yeah,
by a
there's-
15, 16
Like
year
it's
old.
cool to be an adult when you're an adult, man.
Yeah, just act like you're
There's,
on, man.
and
It's
then
cool.
there's an art to it too. Like, I mean, from obviously, like you mentioned it, like from my perspective, it's a little different because I'm in a place of power and instruction.
There you go.
Yeah.
So like they're gonna come and they're gonna have and ask me these questions, or they're gonna. I'm gonna listen to what they like. It's challenging sometimes
Yeah,
because like
yeah.
I don't want to. Part of me's like, no, this is this way for a reason. But part of me's like, these new things are existing because they're trying to break the mold. They're
There
trying
are no
to
rules.
do. They're
There are
trying
no
to
rules.
trying
There
to
are no
do new
rules.
things, and it's like, all right, cool, show me. You know what I mean?
You having an open mind is going to be the difference with your
Well,
students. To me, I think you having what you just said about understanding what's what is going to be the difference. You're not in your class saying everything y'all doing is wrong. Let's go back to 1999 and do it the way I did it.
I mean, some stuff I will say.
Yeah, but that's not what
You're
your course
absolutely
is
wrong.
based off of. It's not based off that.
Nah,
You don't preach at them about what we used to.
I
listen to.
teach Ableton Live.
Oh, there you go.
That's all I do, man.
I'll never forget. I was at work once. This is years ago, and a dude I worked with that I was cool with and still am. who didn't know a lot about hip hop was trying to tell me how good Lil B was and how he was.
He's the bass guy.
And
He
how he
put a
was,
curse on you. Be careful.
and how
Be careful
he was,
now.
I'm already cursed, bro. He can't be much worse. So,
So much for that.
no, I'm just kidding. I have a blessed life. But it was just kind of like, if you don't have the foundation of understanding like what came before all of that, you can if you want. You're just I'm not gonna really respect this conversation that we're having at the end of the, you know what I mean? But you can't come and tell me why Lil B is so much better than X, Y, and Z.
Sure.
When you don't know shit.
Yeah.
But Lil B, and probably because it's popular.
Yeah.
One thing we haven't touched on, I know we need to move on,
Yes,
is
sir.
sometimes people like shit, especially when they're young, because it's popular.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's it.
Yep.
You
We
know?
fell into that category.
Yeah. But another part that again,
And not even just when they're young.
I know
Nowadays.
Yeah.
one thing that I generally have to check myself on a regular basis, and from one perspective, and then I'll stop. But one thing that it's interesting too, because I find myself challenging myself and questioning myself more often than not when it comes to like certain things that I know is like absolutes almost when it comes to like music, and it's kind of like I'll get challenged by a student that I know doesn't have a schmidst, if that's a word, of like any
We'll
type
take
of
it.
understanding.
A smidgen.
But they still like it. And,
Yeah.
and I find myself on a regular basis questioning myself more than them sometimes. And I think that that's actually a good thing.
That is a good thing, I think. And because at the end of the day, it's just it's music. And I'm not undermining it by saying it's just someone's opinion.
Sure.
Yeah,
It's just what somebody likes, man.
Yeah.
Like when people start going into the realm, of what's better, right?
It's all subjective.
It
Music
is,
is
man.
so
It really is at the
subjective,
end of the day.
man.
But I'm not above being fired up about certain
Yeah.
stuff. Like you can't.
You said Jersey. If your kick is clipping, it's gonna sound like shit.
Yeah.
You can like that, but
Yeah.
if we're gonna play this in a big club,
Yeah.
it's gonna sound like shit on top of shit.
I think, and I'm not really
That's
you know what I'm
real.
saying, in the Jersey club music like that, but I think a lot of that shit that they do Jersey club style is just based off dance. It has nothing to do with actually club.
I also think that it's very much SoundCloud based, and it's very much how people listen to it, which is on a phone, which doesn't have great speakers. So they distort it intentionally so it bangs nice on a phone.
I need
So
to
it's
check,
a pet
I need to
peeve of
check
mine
this
too.
out.
When you talk about phone, I hate when somebody is listening to music just, you know what I'm saying, on their phone raw without headphones. That
I do
drives
that.
me completely
I
nuts.
do
I
it
don't know
every day.
why.
You have
I do
no
it every day.
idea
Do
what,
you?
with you have no idea what
can't
you're
stand
listening
it.
to actually sounds
But
like.
I have a
You
nice,
have no
I have a
idea.
nice Bluetooth speaker. at
Oh, well,
home.
that's not just raw
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
But every
Yeah,
once in a
that's
while, like
different.
if I'm in the
You put on
shower,
a condom when you was listening to it.
Thanks to our partners. Dr. Coleman of Coleman Dental is our go-to dentist. He's a longtime Indianapolis arts and music supporter located right in Broad Ripple. Our good friends at Indie CD and Vinyl operate one of the best record stores in North America. Shop new and used in their site or visit them in person. And the best way to support the New Old Heads is to visit our Patreon and become a member. All details on newoldheads.com.
So Drake continues to prove his dominance even after his recent battle. He recently celebrated his 39th birthday with a career milestone that extends, I guess you could speak to his dominance in terms of his hip hop career. Drake holds an unprecedented 16 total diamond certification. I would say that's big, cementing his position as the most diamond certified artist in RIAA history. That's big. If we like it or not, it's there. So my question would be, since he dabbles in the pop sphere and the hip hop sphere, how should his numbers be looked at on the hip hop side? What do y'all think? Because can you discredit them, or how
No,
should they
you
be
can't
looked
discredit them at all. The only thing is when it goes back to, conversations we've had more than once. Okay, your ability to market yourself or be a product doesn't mean anything to us when we're talking about your ability to be an artist and what we feel about, your accolades as far as your actual art. Like you're going, when they do the Billboard Awards and was iHeartRadio, those are all awards based on metrics. Okay, even the American Music Awards. Yeah,
Yep.
There was one year where Kanye West was all mad that he didn't win. And it's like it had nothing to do with how good your records were. It had to do with the fact that Price Waterhouse or whoever counts everything up did not have you at number one, so you don't get the award. There are people like who are still going to look at this as far as, okay, he is the top of the top as far as these diamond certifications. That does mean something. This is radio and records. This is an industry. This isn't just let's make these really great records and hope people enjoy them, regardless of their content. Drake is the biggest product in modern music outside of Taylor Swift, and so the people who lean on numbers to determine whether or not someone is the best artist, well, they can make a case for themselves. Now, I don't buy into that, just like we've talked about earlier, but you can't take anything away from Drake's overall success because he had a remarkably bad summer last year, And so I think if you're a fan of Drake, the people who are fans of Drake, they're still fans of Drake. Like I put it, as long as he still has girls and young people who just like the vibe, if you will, there's a lot of those people. He's going to be just fine. We're talking about his viability in the hip hop space. Honestly, and depending on what year you ask me, that's always kind of been in question.
That's fair. Spoolz, you got anything?
You guys know his uncle was in Sly and the Family Stone?
I did not know that.
And got into it with Sly and ended up having his own career after that.
Yeah. Did he sue him?
I don't know, but they fought.
I did not know that.
You cannot take away that success.
Thank you.
I think that's fantastic for Drake, man. And as sarcastic as I probably sound saying that, I truly mean it, man. Like that's just human to human, man. That's fantastic. Like that's great. You said, how does that factor into like the rap numbers or whatever?
Is this a guy that does
like for me? It doesn't
both.
like just because I don't look at the numbers at the end of the day.
The concept of his numbers being able to be looked at as a hip hop star when we know he does pop and hip hop, and how are we supposed to? Are we just supposed to discredit that because he does both, or are we just supposed to say, I mean, it is what it is, kind of what Jay Moore was saying?
No, like I think it's pop. It's pop music at the end of the day. It's hip hop influenced pop music.
Yeah, Episode number 1 of the New Old Heads. Drake is a pop star.
Yeah,
that's facts.
Yeah.
That's
and
facts.
There's zero wrong with that. And I hope,
that's facts, Long.
And maybe he sees that as like disrespectful. Drake can rap. Like he's not a bad rapper at the end of the day. And side note, as much as I don't care for his music, and it's not because of the way he look. I think he's funny as actually. Every time I've seen him on SNL or something, he's got a great sense of humor.
Sure.
The dude can act. Like he's a very talented human being. There's no doubt about that. But I don't care if he has 18 or 18 million diamond certifications. He's not the best rapper.
Yep.
He's not the best in hip hop.
Not even
that
in the running.
Jump in, Long. What you think?
That's exactly what I think. Brad said it.
Brad already got it.
He's a product, man. We already know this. He's a product. He's done really good at doing product things, which is selling. And that's what he does. And he molds and he chameleons based upon what he needs to do. Mm-hmm. And he sells those records. And if you're into that, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's what he's done. This is what it's shown. Well, everything that in this last year has shown us is that Drake is a really good pop star. He's going to continue. His people are still going to rock with him. And they're rocking with him because he's popular. They're not rocking with them. I mean, sure, they might like some records. Yeah. But they're rocking with him because he's popular and because it's cool to like him because he's popular.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's what it is to me.
That's true. I feel like he doesn't have to be celebrated from a hip hop standpoint if people don't want to give him those P's. But you damn near have to. But I'm not mad at people that don't.
That's what I'm looking
based
for.
on what people view as hip hop and what people view as popular. Now, when we talk about metrics and numbers, we had that conversation too. That to me doesn't play into me having to appreciate an artist. There's artists out here that I've never listened to that have diamond plaques, and I could care less.
I could not tell you a Taylor. I couldn't tell you a Taylor Swift song.
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, it just is what it is. But he falls in line with. He's been able to, like Lon said, he's been a chameleon out here. He's been able to dibble and dabble. He has some talent. Like I know we talked about Ninth Wonder and his comment during that Breakfast Club interview. He actually brought up Drake and where his influence came from during that conversation.
Oh, really?
Mr.
Yeah,
Fonte
he did.
Coleman. Yep.
So knowing what his influences were and where it led him and where he's at now, it's commendable what he's done in the music game. But me as a hip hop fan, I don't have to necessarily just champion him as the best rapper based off of a bunch of people that don't really rock with hip hop that contributed to his fame and popularity.
You know what I think? You just hit.
Yep.
You just hit on to something. You just made a point too. We talked about Ninth's interview. We had a snippet of it earlier, and Ninth literally was like, "There is no Drake without Fonte Coleman."
He definitely
said
said that on the radio.
And we've said that for years. And everybody just say we be talking and we don't know what we're talking about. But it actually speaks to kind of what Lone talked about from a product standpoint. If you look at his origin were people like Little Brother and all these people that we were talking about. But when it was time to be the product, the pivot happened. Like he shifted to the pop side, but his roots are.
I don't know.
Let me correct that real quick, because before Drake is the Drake that we know, he was on 106 in Park with something that did not stick. So he had to go back to the drawing board.
Okay.
So at that point, it was a more poppy rap song. I feel like he kind of went and did his homework. What he said in that interview, I study rap battles for a living. It didn't fare out well for him in that sense. But
okay,
So it's 106 in Park's fault.
no, because they played that video like maybe twice.
yeah,
It didn't work. Like
I'm talking about crushing him.
You talking about you talking about just knocking him off the put whatever
I don't know,
it was.
he tried and it didn't work. It was kind of like, remember when RZA had that song, I got so many ladies.
Oh yeah.
Like, when they tried to make him do that, and then RZA, like, he was gone, and then he came back somebody else.
He tried it.
We love you, Rakim.
Yeah. So Drake had a similar situation to where he was out, it didn't work. He went back to the drawing board, came out again. Now he's not RZA, super producer that created the super group, but he learned how to do what he needed to do. And he also had the assistance of Lil Wayne, who was at that time the biggest rapper in the world. I mean, and a lot of people don't like Lil Wayne, but at one point in time, he was the biggest rapper in the world.
That's facts.
And he co-signed Drake, which kind of spearheaded Drake. Drake at one point in time was most of the hooks. If it wasn't him, it was T-Pain. T-Pain and Drake had the hook game on lock. And everybody wanted Drake on their hooks or on their song. He came in and did what he was supposed to do, which brought him to where we're at now. He's still a very popular artist and seen outside of hip hop as that. That kind of goes to how he's able to pop up on the SNL and do what he does on there.
Yeah.
You don't see a whole bunch of rappers appear on SNL in comedy shorts. Like, I mean, some people get some shine, but like, he's from the acting world, so it's comfortable for him.
Good point.
So it's comfortable for him to put on these many hats in hip hop and pop as well, and create this artist and be a product to the world and sell all these records. So like, kudos to him for being able to get those diamond plaques. And it's still October and he has not dropped Iceman.
True.
Oh, I'm on pins and needles, dude.
Calm down.
Calm down.
Yeah.
Calm down.
No,
man.
I think this is the thing, because sometimes we get into our backpacks a little deep sometimes, if you will. There are artists out here in all genres. They get in this to be products. They're like, we're positioning this person to have the number one album. We want them to have the number one song. This is going to be in an iced tea commercial. This is going to be in a commercial for the Gap. And they do that unabashedly, and they are not trying to hide it. And I think that was part of what, it was on Universal Records. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not saying that, because there's some of that with Kendrick. Not a lot. After, when you hear Mr. Morale, there is no, that is not a product rap album. But he does that sometimes too. But Drake, I think, as far as commercial hip hop, whatever you want to call it, it was like him and everybody else. Because even the people, even when him and Nicki came out around the same time, that's something that Nicki, even for all the pop success and that she's had, there was still something missing there. Like Drake, it was almost every year, even if it was just a song, it might have been one song on the record, but you were going to hear that song over and over again. And it worked.
He was the
him.
hook man.
Yeah.
People were going in for the hook. So that's the difference between him and Nicki.
And Nicki. So I just think, there are some people it's easy for us to get on, especially when you talk about commercial hip hop, and we all remember when there was kind of that split, if you will, where it was like, nah, they over there doing soda commercials and dancing too much, and especially when it was Hammer was out here getting all that money. There was this thing, we weren't in this to be products. Even though technically, if you're signed to a major record label, that's what you are. Mm-hmm. It just depends on where they market you as a product. And Drake got to a point where like, oh, we could market this kid from Canada, this mixed kid from Canada. We can put him over here. We can put him at the festivals. We can put him at the BET Awards. We can put him at the MTV Awards. We can put him in commercials. He can go on the ESPYs. We can put him in MTV. At one point, he was just everywhere.
You have to also add into that, granted.
But he had the records to back it up.
He was all of those.
He had the records to back it up.
So that's what I was going to get into. When you talk about Drake's production, 40, and what he contributed to Drake's career, should not be left out either, because he created a sound for Drake that worked. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to his lyrics or whoever did what on it, I don't know about that, but
isn't that interesting?
He made it work. Well, that goes to the whole pop situation.
Absolutely.
That puts him in that pocket.
Yep.
But when it comes to his production and the hooks and what he did and his evolution on those first, let's say, 3 or 4 albums, mm-hmm. He was doing what he was supposed to do. But again, it fell into that pop category. And he also had the advantage from being Canadian, making American music, and having both of those fan bases and being able to tour around the world. And again, Lil Wayne.
I'm going to be honest with y'all, circling back around to how it should be celebrated. I don't think it matters. I think he's one of those people that is going to be legendary regardless. And I think he's going to be, if anything, his hip hop peas will come back later down the road than they do now. I think. This is not me. This is not my thinking. I'm talking about the masses. I don't think it matters right now.
I don't think it went anywhere because, like,
I just don't think it matters. We have to
realize some of this is factoring in what happened. You know what I'm saying? And everybody knows.
Oh, yeah. Past
year.
For sure.
But, like, when you talk about early Drake music, mm-hmm. you're not going to be able to take that feeling that people had listening to Drake away from anybody.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Whether we considered it pop or not, Drake has a pretty nice catalog. He has some stuff that I don't rock with at all, but his catalog speaks for itself when it comes to being an artist. Mm-hmm. And I'm sticking to artists because I feel like people are trying to make people put him in a certain category, and he has to be regarded as the best rapper just because he sold a whole bunch of
most
copies.
records.
And that's just not where I'm at with it.
Go ahead, Lon. Come on.
I think he's an entertainer. I don't really think he's an artist. And I always say he's a product, but like, I know it's very nuanced, but like from the perspective of like where you create from and what you create for, to me is very important for the process. To me, he's made art, but and it's not to say that like art can't make money and commerce can't exist because of it, but he exists solely as a quote unquote artist to entertain people and make money. It's not to create art. In my perspective, from what I've gathered, from what I've watched Drake throughout his career, and I know it's very nuanced, and I know that we can, I'm probably the hater in this situation. I'm fine with that, but I don't really view him as an artist in that particular type of way. And I know I'm splitting hairs on the definition, but to me, he's an entertainer and a product. Like, there's a difference between if the quote unquote art that you're creating is solely for product placement, or commerce. To me, that's not art. To me, that's not art. It's just not. Like, it depends where it comes from, and that's just my perspective. And like, you can hear songs, he's influenced a ton of people. I can't take away his influence. I can't take away his earlier stuff that was maybe a little bit less producty. You know, and I'm not going to say everything across the board, obviously, because he started off as something, but like he has morphed his from start to where he is now. He has turned, like fully evolved into a product. Like that is him solely at this point in time.
That's his identity.
And I just, at this point in time, like after seeing what he has started from and where he has came from, he kind of already started like that, but now he's fully emerged into that. So
he actually started from the bottom.
Well, he's here now, and he's achieved. He started from the bottom of what he wanted to be, and now he's achieved his commercial success.
He lived with his mom, and they argued every month.
Well,
hey man,
rock bottom.
Hey man, and then when we talk about hip hop again, this is why it keeps being brought into question. His reference tracks keep leaking, like they're still leaking. I want to say, I think it was Read My Soul actually did a video about one of his tracks that leaked like a week ago. So that to me is what caused him being at the top of the food chain in hip hop to question. When all of these records, like you deliver them very well, but they are referenced by somebody else. You used Quentin Miller a whole lot. Yep. Quentin Miller actually created a whole vibe and style for Drake at one point in time. And that's when Drake kind of was ascending, was based off of the stuff Quentin Miller was writing for him. So by itself is a pop star's avenue, a pop star's lane. Is that somebody else is writing stuff?
Like they have appeal. They have appeal, and then they take something that somebody else created, some sort of artistic thing, and they use their appeal to amplify it because they have the appeal and the popularity.
Yeah. So when we talk about the biggest pop stars in the world, Michael Jackson did write some of his songs, but a lot of his stuff was engineered by people behind the scenes, and he sang these songs. But Mike was an entertainer. So he not only sang these songs that somebody else wrote for him, he sang the songs that he wrote himself. Yeah. And he was able to entertain you.
Mike produced a lot too, though.
Yeah. But my whole thing, even when we talk about Drake as a pop star, I hate when he tries to take light of a Michael Jackson and try to put him in that same arena. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because when we talk about pop stars, there's a pop star and there's a pop star. Yeah. Like a for real, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You were never going to be that dude that Mike was.
I don't know if anybody will.
Nobody will ever be that dude. So like, I mean, this is why the whole metrics things don't fucking matter to me, because you can't say you're better than this particular artist just because you have more stuff to add into the pot. Like even when we talk about Biggie and Tupac were not able to fulfill their careers like they should have been fulfilled because they passed away. So does that take away from their artistry and their greatness just because they weren't able to get all of those accolades?
Right.
When we talk about hip hop, right?
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah, but we're having that conversation, but we love A Tribe Called Quest. I don't know how many records they sold. I don't know what platinum or gold.
Doesn't matter.
De La Soul. I don't know if any, how many. I don't know how many records of each album they had, but I just know Blown Mind State was incredible.
Yeah.
I don't, I know
High was incredible.
I know that Common didn't get his first gold album until B. And he had an incredible career up to that of records that I love.
Yeah.
So it doesn't, good for you, Drake. But, if you want to be listed in the pantheon with those artists that I just named, or just maybe artists that are more contemporary, you don't have those records.
Because if you take away those sales and you put some of those artists, like you talk about putting the CDs on the table, he has plenty of those. But like, say we put his CD on the table with a lot of these hip hop artists, and you just leave it in the room of people that ain't really into music like that, I guarantee you they're probably not picking a Drake album. I've never heard any of these albums, and they're listening to them for the first time.
Because when you line them up together and you really take it for what it is, it's gonna get spooky. It's definitely gonna get spooky. You're gonna be very surprised at your selection. I agree with you on that.
No music head is picking Drake. I mean, no music head is picking Drake.
No.
Like nobody's.
Not over those people, especially that I just listed.
No.
No.
It's just.
You put equipment on the table in a Drake album.
What are we doing?
What are we doing? That's it, Lone. What are we doing?
But what makes it interesting though too about and side note, his uncle was Larry Graham. He started Graham Central Station.
Larry Graham is a
That's
beast.
his
He used to rock with
that's his uncle.
He used to rock with Prince.
That's
Who's his
Drake's
dad?
uncle.
Oh.
Larry Graham is a beast.
Yeah, he is. He's
Yeah.
extremely talented.
His dad is Graham. So
Yeah.
I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
Aubrey Graham.
What makes it interesting for Drake? Has there ever been another like hip hop influenced pop star? Is what I'll refer to Drake, who's like been engaged with like what people now call these battles, and it's like him versus Meek Mill. Meek Mill's a better rapper than Drake is. I know that.
But Drake
We all know that.
Drake kind of got with him though.
You know, but why? Was it because of the things
Drake
that he
definitely got-
said, or because of the like the
Popularity.
The machine behind it.
No, he
That's what
actually
I'm-
was.
that's
He
what
was
I'm
actually
wondering.
better.
He made honestly,
better.
he made a better, back to back was a better record
Yeah, he
than
was
whatever
better.
Meek
He
killed.
was
people
better.
were definitely piling on Meek at that point. So I'm not like that game came out of left field and had a whole
That's fair.
diss track
Meek
for,
didn't
for
have
Meek
an
too.
answer.
Well, Meek,
He ain't got the answer, Sway.
but then there's also like the obviously him and Kendrick. But who else is he? He's had
Pusha.
Pusha
Pusha
T.
T.
Pusha T. I mean,
Common.
come on,
Common,
Common.
yeah.
These are better.
Joe Budden.
These are better. I don't. The two you mentioned before are definitely better MCs. I'm not putting Joe Budden down. Joe can rap
I
too.
think
can
But
rap.
like,
Joe's
yeah,
a better rapper.
Joe's tough.
Yeah.
like these guys are better at rapping than Drake is. But to the masses, Drake wins no matter what.
Yep.
Even in the Kendrick thing, which was pretty clear, I thought.
Not to some.
No, it wasn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the wild part.
But again, it goes back to like
Like you're stepped into the main arena of hip hop and rap, like going at people and stuff like that. And like we all know it's not that great of music, but we're still entertaining all these beefs and battles that he has with people.
Yeah,
When we
yeah.
know he doesn't belong in that arena.
Go ahead, Lone.
It's just weird.
I was just gonna say, like, if we're watching basketball and we have some analysts over here that studied basketball and played basketball, and then all of a sudden we have people over here who just love wrestling, whose opinion are we gonna?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's the same. I just don't understand why this is so hard to see sometimes. Like the people that are the commentators that are a part of hip hop that are around when Drake isn't around.
Yeah.
And the artists and everything else, like, sure, we can appreciate Drake for what he is, but
Sure.
like, Jay said it, that's where it stops. And the same, like, and to the other point, Fonte, bring it up again. He said, if you Xerox the style, that's infringing on my copyright.
Copyright.
He's what he does, man. He's just a chameleon. He doesn't have any original thoughts.
Your product description is one of the best ones I've heard, man. NewOldHeads.com for all the education you need this year. If you see it, like it, subscribe, hit any bell you see, any notifications, make sure to give us a 5-star rating, and don't forget to check out our Patreon site where you get all of the exclusive unedited episodes. We appreciate your support, and we'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Yeah.
Gunshots.
In a minute.